So now before I turn it over to Maria's capable hands, I will encourage you to sit back and see the wealth of instructions, forms, information, links, and other resources available to you on the website. Maria, go for it.
Thanks, Sally. Well, as we said, thanks for joining us on our tour of the Minnesota Department of Health website. We're excited to share all the reference materials you can find on the website, and that we will show you soon during our tour. So for now, let's start with a quick review of some password tips. So, the MDH website is always current and available, and it's a treasure trove of information for you and your customers. I can't wait to show you everything that's at your fingertips to help you do your job. Best thing is, the website is always current. This is the place that you can find all of your job aids, your forms, your user guides that are current. The latest and the greatest will always be posted on the website. The Minnesota Department of Health website for local issuance users is your go-to for office and reference for the public as well. So we're going to ask you to destroy any manuals that you may have hanging around in your office. These have not been distributed for years and are very out of date. Why, you ask? Because we're going to show you the website and ask you to use the website. Just for that reason, because it's always available, and again, everything is current. In fact, I just had a county the other day call, I can't remember which one. They were wondering if there was anything out there newer than their manual that they had in their office. Holy buckets, I said, yes, there is. Let's take a look at the website. We navigated to that information they were looking for, and voila, bookmarked. Boom. So again, manuals become out of date. The Minnesota Department of Website has current applications, information pages, and reference are here. Manuals get ragged and tattered. The MDH website is current, easy to read, and not torn or tattered. You're able to print off nice and new copies of the most current applications. In other words, get rid of your manual and rely on the website for all of your local issuance needs. Manuals can get locked away in an office with no access to them. The Minnesota Department of Health website is always available. Once you get to your local issuance page, we ask that you bookmark or save it as a favorite on your computer. It sure makes it easier when you need to just grab something. And this is your site. Use it. Once we've completed this presentation, take a few minutes of your own to create your own tour. Check it out. There's very valuable information there. And now on to password security. So for starters, the security reminder for today is all about passwords. Your password should be strong, and you should have a unique password for every site. 8 to 12 characters is good. Numbers, letters, symbols, better. I know you've heard this previously, but don't share your passwords with anyone. This includes writing it on a Post-it and putting it on your computer or the note at your desk with reminder passwords. You get the drill. So I'm going to look at the slide here. Passwords must be strong and unique for every site. So for example, I put a couple of examples here. Basketball, spelled differently with ones for the L's, @ for the A's, and the T I use the plus sign. The next one, I love chocolat. And the same thing, you can put letters, numbers in, whatever works. The other thing is short phrases are good too. My dog has fleas. So again, don't share passwords and don't open the attachments from anyone that you do know. It's very basic and it's very important. Now let's chat about, or actually, you can listen to me chat about the Minnesota Department of Health's website, especially for our partners, and we'll answer all your questions at the end. If you have questions during, please just feel free to put them in the chat, and we will review them as we go. So now let's look for that hidden treasure in the Minnesota Department of Health website. I sure hope you were able to find your own. So we are going to start with the website. And as you can see here, It is the Minnesota Department of Health website. It is www.health.state.mn.us. Once you get there, we ask you to go to the Individual and Family Health link. There, you will find under Certificates and Records, there's birth information, death information. Here's your vital records for professionals. That's all about you. And the father's adoption registry information as well. So we are going to start out with a review of the public site. So let's just start with birth records. This site will show you all information, and this is the public portion. It gives you all kinds of tutorials. It gives you information on birth record amendments. There's information about Real ID and the deadline for that as well. And then also, it tells you where all the Minnesota Vital Records are, the offices. So if I click on this Minnesota Vital Records, you can see that we can either go to, let's just say we'll go to Mille Lacs. And there we are. Any of those locations can be found on the website along with the phone number and the email address. So that's really a good, convenient way for you to be able to help your customers when they come in as well. Sorry, scrolling a little too fast there. So the other thing that we're going to talk about is like non-certified birth records is also in the public. And they will show you when and how to get a non-certified birth record. And again, it tells you about confidential, there's the application right here, and information about notary public as well. It'll go around to change a birth record. If somebody wants to do an amendment, you can certainly send them here on changing it. It gives you information about corrections and amendments, and this is great for your customers to be able to review. The birth record amendments page is where this will take you. If you click on amendments, all about amendments, but just remember you can always use the back button on the website. We don't want you to use it on the MR&C, but on the website, the back button will always get you back to where you just were. And we've got birth records after adoption. This is a question we all have. I do too. All about everything that you would ever want to know about getting a record prior to adoption, post-adoption records, who's eligible. We know that, but your customers many times don't. And so therefore, sending them to the Minnesota Department of Health website, they can find just, again, lots of treasures here. And again, non-certified death records, or birth records and birth records and paternity. That's the other thing that we talked about last month and the month before. It takes you to the application for a certified recognition of parentage or a non-spouse's non-parentage statement. Adding a father to the birth record gives you the recognition of parentage form. And then also it tells you about court orders and the instructions for court administrators and child support, along with the Minnesota Department of Human Services link on establishing paternity. That's very helpful as well. Then let's go to death records. Again, same kind of thing. Death certificates, where can I buy them? Death verifications. We're going to talk about that. We have people who come in and ask, did so-and-so pass away? Well, we can't give them any of that information, but you can direct them to this death verification site. So I'm just going to show you how it works. We are going to look up Prince, and his first name was Prince, last name Nelson. Oh, and if you spell it correctly, it works better. So his birthday was 06/07 of 1958. And then they'll select this search death record button. And as you can see right here, he died on 4/21 of 2016, and there is the state file number for his death record. Now, the other thing to remember is that sometimes when you punch in a name, it may not come up as anything. That doesn't mean that they haven't passed away. They may have passed away in another state. we're not sure exactly. Sometimes they just don't get in here. But this is your best bet to send people if they have questions about whether someone passed away or not. Then again, it goes into non-certified death records, who can get them, how they can get them, along with changing a death record. This, again, this amendment and change page is very, very important. The other thing is on here, it will give you the change in cause of manner section below. It also gives you an option to be able to find funeral homes. So if someone is looking for a funeral home, they can search it by county, by city, by name. So if we go in here and we look for, let's just say Bradshaw, and we say submit, it is going to give us a list of all of the different Bradshaw locations. So again, great information because we seem to get a lot of the same questions many times. So the next thing that we're going to look at is on the very top here. It tells us about certificates and records, about OVR. OVR contacts are here just so you have that information. So the main help desk line is this 651-201-5970. We know that many of you have like a direct link or a phone number for us. However, this is the main number and the best number because you never know when Sally and I may be out training or not at our desks, and we want to make sure that you get some immediate help with that. So make sure that you put this down as your main phone number, the 5970. Email addresses can be found here between regular email and MR&C questions, along with our state registrar, the deputy state registrar, and our supervisor and statewide system and application support, Bill Devine. So those are all there as well. Now, all of the father's adoption information is here as well, and apostille authentication. Many times they ask about this, so you can certainly go here, tell them to, peruse this, and it will give them lots of excellent information along with a link to the apostille website. Now we're going to go into yours. So again, we said that once we got to that, we're going to go back to the very beginning here. And when you're on that first page, it will show you this vital records for professionals. I want you to click on that, and I want you to go down. And again, we've got it for medical certifiers, just so you realize there's funeral directors information. And again, medical certifiers, it'll give you information on providing cause of death, gives them information about the National Vital Statistics System, along with all kinds of other information. The other thing is, again, let's go back to this training for vital records. Funeral directors and staff, it'll give them information on entering the fact of death information. Hospital birth registrars, if they have questions on entering the birth. And again, medical certifiers and staff. What we want to do is we are going to go to the county vital records offices. And again, this is all about you. So on this page where we started is on the training page. And again, this will show you all of the office hours that we've done previously. And the recordings are all here. There's many wonderful, wonderful resources. I know security, paper, and management and reconciliation is one that is very important and that we've reviewed many times. Eligibility and tangible interest, parental notices, paternity, acceptable ID, adoptions, and other replaced records. So they are there for you. The other thing is if there's any past events, and training for you and others as well is all on here. So with links to join the different scheduled meetings. The next thing that will happen is on here on the left-hand side, you'll see the local issuance home. That's where we're at. Just says that, that we all work together and our sandbox is never empty. So if you click on the MR&C for County Vital Records offices, This gives you a link to the MR&C if you ever forget it. The other thing is it will give you all of the user agreements that are on there. And there is also a link to a password reset instructional video. We did this quite some time ago, but it is still very relevant. If anybody has questions about that, they can go there and watch that tutorial. Here are all of the user guides. I know amending a death record is a tough one, so let's just click on that. And what we see is the process to amend a death record. Starting with logging into MR&C, it goes through everything line by line. And if you get in here and you follow this step by step, you will complete it successfully. And we all know that sometimes they get a little odd, but follow this and you will be good to go. The same with any of the others, correcting a birth or a death record, correct a customer service request, fulfill electronic death certificate requests, invoicing, issuing birth certificates, issuing death certificates, managing your security paper inventory. Again, this is a wonderful, it shows everything that we've got here. Correcting, approving the voids, all of those things are right here. This, along with that tutorial, would be your best bet if you want to kind of get everything all in the same at the same time. And again, managing work queues and requests, printing parent notices, which again must be done at least weekly at all local issuance offices. Use fee and payment records and security paper reports. So even in here, it's going to give you outstanding invoices, so the daily fee transaction reports and how to generate them, the free transaction reports, how to generate outstanding invoices. So they are all right there as well. That is what we find in the MR&C for County Vital Records offices. Now we're going to go to the forms that you many times need for you and the public. You click on the forms and it gives you a request to add the pre-2001 birth records to MR&C, along with data error entry corrections, the birth certificate application, youth experiencing homelessness, non-certified birth record, request to verify a Minnesota birth record. And we know that that gets used many times for our military when they are enlisted. And again, all of the other ones here, statement to identify is on there, the death record amendment application, and the funeral home application to amend a death record. So those are all there if you need those resources for you and or your customers. Then we can go to security paper for County Vital Records offices. This reviews how and where to get your paper. It's all done online, and it does go through it. It goes through the reorder form and what you need to do. It also says that it gives you the link to set up your account with North Star, and who you need to contact them if you have a security paper problem. And then once it's resolved, you can click this and you will put the information and how it was resolved on this form, and then you'll fax it to us. And then we will have a record of it as well. So all of those resources are here as well. The County Vital Records Office reference information, we kind of talked about that. This is very similar to what is on the public webpage, the authorizer's requester table. This is a great resource. It talks about eligibility, and I know on the actual application there is information as well. However, this will give you all of the information and what an individual looking for a birth or a death record will be required to supply. Talks about non-certified public records, confidential birth certificates, and then we go into non-certified confidential birth records and other types of birth certificates and who is eligible to receive them and what the required documentation may be if they're coming in as a personal representative or a guardian, something like that. So then it goes through adoption again, and It gives additional information, a link to that birth records after adoption page, adding a father to the birth record, amending a record, corrections to birth and death records, the data classifications, which we all know that we learned, but sometimes it's still, okay, is that public, confidential, or is it, yeah, you get the drill. Death records amendments are on here, how to, if you have a request from a funeral home, how to go about that, the death record amendment packet, requests from other individuals about a death record amendment application. Anyone can change a death record. They do have to have a legal right to do that, though. So cause and manner of death changes are on here as well. Death registration by family. If you ever get a call from a family who says that they would like to service their loved one, refer them to that death registration by family. Have them give us a call. We will kind of walk them through the process. And that's kind of really all you need to know about that. It's very, very infrequent, but if you do have a hospice facility or someone call, you can just direct them to us. Again, the fee table is another one that is very good for reference as well. And it tells the availability of who can do them. So vital records fees, how much each request is, and who can print them out, all vital records offices or our office at the state. And then it goes through stillbirth records, again, death records, and all of the fees and who can do them. So another great resource. And then reports, if you have a county or a school or someone who needs reports, you could send them to let them know that the time span and that they can get that data. However, we do charge for that data. Gives information about home births. Again, all you need to know is have them contact the Office of Vital Records and we will steer them in the right direction on that. Homeless youth birth certificates, marriage. Now, we don't have anything to do with marriage. That's all done at the county level. However, we do each month get the number of marriage licenses, and that is done through this county office marriage reporting webpage. So if you click on that, and then you can go to your monthly report, you can look at the annual report if you're interested as well, tribal marriages and licenses. And then if you have questions, again, please do give us a call. And then links for county vital records offices. Here you go, National Center for Health Statistics. If you have any questions about what other states may be doing, you can click on this. It will give you information. The historical birth and death certificate, the Minnesota Historical Society, notary and apostille, apostille authentication, funeral establishments, intercountry adoption. That is always interesting. And then U.S. citizens abroad, birth or deaths. Again, information on where to be able to locate those, how to get them, information on the Minnesota Association of County Officers, and the Association of Minnesota Counties. So those are all there as well. And that's on this links for county vital records offices. Surcharge reporting information is on there as well. So you can see, excuse me, what the surcharges are for the records that you are issuing. And then also training for vital records professionals. This is kind of where we started, but yes, it's on here. So today it shows our July office meeting that we're at today. It will also give us information once this one is over about the August meeting and any upcoming events. Again, here's all your recorded office hours that, especially when you have a new individual, they will be going through each one of these and it will give them a lot of information. There's also information again on the past events and any training that is available for birth, death, and local issuance offices and medical certifiers and staff. So that is what we've got. So I sure hope you were able to find your own handful of information as we took the tour. What I'd really like you to do is when you get a chance, go back and find more things in that website. Just for kicks and giggles, if we could just have a raise of hand from everyone who feels that they saw something that they didn't know was on there, or something that they feel that they learned, or that they noted that they haven't noticed before. We'll give you just a few seconds to do that. All righty. So nobody learned anything. I'm sorry, but we'll still keep you here for just a little bit longer. We're just about done. All right, so let's go over some of the resources and review what we talked about today. So again, I'm just going to ask you if you could take 10 or 15 minutes to do some of your own exploration on the Minnesota Department of Health website and rely on this site for all of your local issuance needs. The MR&C message board, which currently doesn't have anything on it, but it will when we have information for each individual local issuance office, birth registrars. This will pop up on there when they open up the MR&C. And it'll have the newest information, training, announcements, if there's newly updated forms, applications as well. And again, our resources. The help desk, always 651-201-5970, and they are available from 8 to 4:30 Monday through Friday. They are not available on weekends or state holidays. Here is the email address if you have any questions, and then again, that website for local issuance office professionals, www.health.state.mn.us, and be sure to bookmark or save that in your favorites. And last but not least, next month, August 17th, Sally will be leading a discussion on registration process and historical records. So we hope to see you then. Now we'd like to thank you for all of the work that you do. We know that these last couple of years have been tough, and we just want you to know that we appreciate you. So now let's open everything up for questions.
I had a couple of questions. There was a question about, excuse me, the breakdown of fees for birth or a death certificate, how much goes to each of the different parts. And we don't currently have that on the website. I've had enough conversations with all of you at different times about that. Maybe it's something that we should consider putting on there. I don't think it would be a huge undertaking to add it to that fee table sheet that comes out there. So something that we can definitely discuss. There's a question about public and confidential birth records. Yes, that's exactly correct. All birth records are public unless the mother is unmarried and it's a confidential record. Oh, hang on, I'm going to interrupt myself here. I'm told that the OVR financial analyst has some resources for the breakdown of fees. Dylan has information, and so if you want to contact him for the breakdown of fees, I'm sure he'd be happy to share that. Back to the public confidential birth records. Birth records for babies born to unmarried mothers are confidential unless mom just decides to have it be a public record. And that distinction happens at the time of the birth record is created at the time of birth. So hopefully that answers your question.
I like seeing this. Thank you, Jennifer. This was really great. I will definitely have old and new staff watch the video. Thank you. That's what we're hoping. Is there a template for the statement of no birth record found? For no birth record found, that would need to come from our office, if it truly is. And there is a template that we have. It is printed out on regular security paper, and it states that there's no record found. Anything to add to that, Sally?
Security paper or regular paper?
No, no record found. So like no birth record or no death record found.
Right, right. But I think it's on regular paper, isn't it?
No, we print them on security paper, and then it comes with a letter.
Clearly, I've never seen one.
I
Thanks,
tend to be in the
Maria.
office periodically and help out. That's the only reason that I know. Oh, we got hands up too. Yay.
I think those are left up.
Oh, from when they raised their hands before. I like it. All right.
If
Any other questions? If you do have your hand up, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask the question or type it in the chat box.